let's plan for October. All right, what's going on? It is September 29th, so wanted to check in. Haven't checked in like 2 weeks, which consistency has been my downfall lately. Not in the reading aspect, literally just making videos, and I think it's more like planning on editing them. It's been my biggest struggle, but here we are, getting these videos out, trying to sort of plan the rest of my October, and really getting excited for the end of the year and what I want to read, especially in November, being like, that's my birthday month. I have extra time off with work, starting to figure out and plan that month, but can't get to November without hitting October. Anyways, what did I read in the month of September so far? I still got a couple, like a day and a half to finish up the rest of my reading, which I'm going to actually finish. I'm very close on the 2 books I haven't finished yet, but I got 3 done already, so it's been a pretty good month. So first book, I didn't plan it at the start of the month, but it was just available at the library, and I was like, you know what, I'll knock this out. Was Full Moon, 1 star. Hated that book. I don't have anything really good to say except for it was an easy enough read. It was just painfully boring. I didn't really care about anything. Don't really want to talk about that anymore. Gonna read book 3. Don't know when. That might be a December read just because of how sort of quick those go. I have, at my job, it's like everything slows down in November and December. I feel like that happens in a lot of places, but that's what it like comes to a screeching halt, and I get a bunch of time off in December too, so I'll have plenty of time to read. So maybe that's when I pick up book 3, but no rush there. I would like, if book 2 was as good as book 1 for me, which, keeping in mind that was 3 stars, I probably would have like tried to pick it up in November to like mix it in between other books, because as we're gonna hit in October, like I'm reading a bunch of long books, and it's a good filler, but this book was so bad I can't force myself to do that again if 3 is bad as well. Next book was Ashes of Man. I gave that 4 stars. What did I like about Ashes of Man? Without sort of spoiling, book 5, Sun Eater. Yeah, book 5. Preface, 4 stars. Really liked the book. It's my second least favorite of the series. I think in order from the first 5 books would be like book 3, Demon in White. That's my favorite. And then I think I go back and forth. I think Demon in White, then Kingdoms of Death, which is book 4, then Howling Dark, which is book 2, and then book 5, Ashes of Man, and then book 1, Empire of Silence. That's my order that I'm sticking with now. Don't write it in stone. Don't put it in the papers. Don't let anyone know. That's my final report on that. But putting that in mind, like 4 stars, one of my least favorite in the series. What I did like about it, which I feel like I say this all the time with the Sun Eater books, is like things sort of change, as in like the goal. It's not a linear like Lord of the Rings, like we're getting this ring over there. Obviously different challenges happen throughout, but like the goal is the same. I guess in theory we know what the goal is. We know the end goal and that it gets achieved in this series, but the sort of reason for continuing the goal changes in all these books, which I do really appreciate. It kind of keeps you on your toes on who this main character is, who the side characters are. And I do think I've started book 6, so maybe I think more positively about these things, but I do think a lot of the series you get really tied up in the big bad guy, Doriaka. I don't think that's a spoiler, just saying someone's name. You really focused on him, especially in like books 3 and 4 that we're coming off of. which were amazing books. Book 5 kind of takes a step back in the sense of like, remember all the things that you loved and you learned about this world and like the history. Like, let's not get really tied up into just this one thing in this world. We still have all the politics, we still have all the other people that we've seen throughout the other books. It does a good step with like secondary villains, secondary sort of, not villains but adversaries maybe, people who get in the way, sometimes help, sometimes don't. Good relationships across, but still made the stakes feel high, despite like we're not fighting the big bad guy, that we're kind of like waiting for the climax at the end. Like, it still kept you interested without you having to be like, yeah, we're not fighting the biggest boss here, but it still feels really important to the growth of everything. And I do like the changes that we're seeing in Hadrian, which is kind of like the growth and the progression of, he's not immortal. If you know, that's a very sort of funny way to go about that. But like, his spirit's not immortal is more what I want to say, rather than him being immortal. That's a whole nother conversation. But his spirit and like his drive, because he's kind of pushing forward. Like, we've gone through, this is the 5th book of like all sorts of shit is happening to him. Like, a lot of things are going to happen to this guy, and his sort of drive and what's motivating him really changes, and why he's doing it and how he's going to do it continues to change. I felt like this was a breath of fresh air as like a step back moment for that character overall, which I loved. What I would say I didn't like about it was, I guess, like, it just wasn't as good as the other ones. It didn't have the big bad, which I know I'm saying is a positive how they twisted it, but still, you want to see the big battle, you want to see like the crazy things happen, which we do see crazy things happen in this book, but it just doesn't feel, it's not, the stakes were here, and I just came off of the 2 previous books where they were like, here's still great, still had a great time there, but like through the roof on the last 2 does kind of put a little bit of a damper in comparison. I did like the politicking, just wasn't my favorite politicking in the series in the book, or book in the series. Regardless, still loved that book. So I finished that book, and some of your books are heavy, so, and I had all sorts of things I was reading. You know, I talked about The Expanse and everything like that, and for some reason I picked up The Shining by Stephen King. I've never read this one, despite it being on my shelf, because my wife had this copy, but I had never read it. I had the actual audiobook for like years on my Audible, and I'm canceling my Audible, so I was like, oh, I could probably pick this up again and try and listen to this. I flew through it in like 5 days. Really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I will say, I've read a lot of Stephen King, as you can kind of see, but I haven't read most of like the beloved books, like It. Haven't read it. I have it on there. Dr. Sleep, wife's copy. Haven't read it. Pet Sematary. Haven't read it. I've read a lot of the more, I would say, how they're viewed, middling Stephen King books, and then like Dark Tower. But I liked this one. It wasn't my sort of number one outside of like, I feel like the Stand genre, like, I mean the Dark Tower genre, where it's like the Stand, but like more of the classic horror. Like, I like it less than I liked Salem's Lot. I like it less than I liked Misery, but it was still good. I think the things I liked was, I do like the sort of point of views of the story and sort of the pacing, where it's like, you kind of get like, hints is probably not the word, but like, blatant just like saying it and then continue to the normal of like what's gonna happen, and like the main character going crazy. and also like any book that does a really good job making the location, if it be like the town or in this case like the hotel, its own character and have its own vibe, and not the hand holding where like is this these visions these characters are getting where it's just you jump into like them kind of losing their minds. I think that's really well done and awesome. I'm like, I like Stephen King. It was really good. So those are my 3 books I have finished. Now, what I'm trying to finish before the end of the month, which I have like 2 days, Disquiet Gods. I am like 90% done with it. It's probably gonna be 5 stars. I'll probably wrap it up with my next video, but number 1, great politics. Number 2, great action. Number 3, heart-wrenching twists, crazy twists. You learn so much about the world, everything that's going on. It kind of felt like if this was the final book, and obviously it doesn't answer all my questions, but like I feel so much more confident in what book 7's gonna be because of this book, because we're getting things from the past in the other books where I was literally thinking halfway through book 5, which this would have been complaints in my book 5, just not talking about book 5, but more talking about the series as a whole. Like, I wish I got more of like these characters or this or that, and it all came together in like a perfect way that makes sense and is understandable in this book. Like, depending on the last 10%, how we're gonna end out, it might take Demon in White out of first place in this series, but like how good this book is and how good Demon in White is, I feel like I'm gonna reread this like next year, maybe like a book a quarter and read it over like a 2-year span. But I'm like so excited for this book 7. And then lastly is Leviathan Wakes. The Sun Eater things, and obviously The Shining threw a wrench in it. But I have a little bit under 100 pages for like 2 days to read, which is perfectly doable. Enjoying it. I'm probably 3 to 4 stars. I'm gonna continue reading it. This one was fun. I get into like little drags here because it's so much action, and then when it's not action and how it's written, it kind of lags in weird places. So I don't know if I'm in love with this series yet, but I'm going to continue, especially it's on Kindle Unlimited, which I use, so I'm very excited to read book 2, but it's probably going to be a November, December read is what I'm thinking for book 2. On to what I'm going to read in October. I have only 2 books planned, and they are very long, which is going to be, first one is Ship of Magic. I've been dying to get back into the realm of the Elderlings, and this has just been a really long wait for it at my library, but I have it on my Kindle, so just waiting to crack it open once I finish Leviathan Wakes. Super excited. This one's kind of like a standalone trilogy, whereas everything else kind of connects as far as I know, but I know that there's a sentient ship. It's connected in the same world as the first, the Farseer trilogy? Farseer trilogy is amazing. I love Robin Hobb's writing. I'm so excited for that. And then we're doing Gardens of the Moon. This is my Malazan month, so I'm gonna start it. I have cracked open the first like chapter when I get through. I read like 30 pages of The Expanse, and then I'm like, should I read some of Gardens of the Moon? And I'll read like 3 pages, and I'm like, I need to be more awake because it'll be like right at the end of the night to like actually pay attention to this. And then I just restart that chapter. So I've just read the first like 5 pages like 6 times out of like, maybe this will catch my eye and I'll stay up for 3 hours and read this. That hasn't happened yet, but those are my 2 books I'm really trying to finish this month in October. And then the next book, I really have 2 books I think I can squeeze in, depending. One's going to be an audiobook I'm waiting for from the library. since I'm getting rid of Audible, which is Last Argument of Kings. That's book 3 of the First Law trilogy. I took a break after the Devils because I didn't love the Devils, but I do want to read Best Served Cold, potentially in November, potentially December. I like how I just go 2 months ahead and I just stack up like 12 books I want to read then. Alas, but I want to finish that trilogy. I haven't listened to any of those books. I've heard the audiobooks are amazing, so that'll be interesting overall. And then the other one is Discovery, J.A.J. Min. What is it? Talking Story family over there writing a cosmic horror book. So that's going to be my only horror book. I did read The Shining right before, so I felt like I got my Stephen King kick out of the way, but really excited for that, just because it's like a Lovecraftian sort of deal there. And then if I can squeeze it in, 1 volume of One Piece. But that's my plan next month, this month. I'm trying to finish it up, but thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, let me know in the comments what you're reading. If you got horror books you're reading that I should read. I know I got a Ronald Malfi here that I will like, I imagine, but we'll see how it goes. But those 2 being Gardens of the Moon and Ship of Magic, I'm so excited for. Let me know if you read those and if I should be this excited, or maybe I shouldn't be. But thanks.